Geeks. We all know them, and we all don't think incredibly highly of them either. Whether you're a huge dork over video games or an otaku of some sorts.
But with these two, despite their geeky behavior, they've proven that they're great at putting up a fight.
Today on Maximum Combat, we're putting two sword-wielding geeks up against one another to see who slacked off the least when it comes to learning how to fight.
I'm Seth, the co-host.
And I'm Max, the regular host. And I've done my research on these two, and now we're going to transfer our knowledge to you, and then we'll tell you who we think would win and why. Now, of course, there's also a fight simulation.
Without any further delay, let's introduce our first opponent, Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim's life wasn't very good in the start of it all, playing bass for a band that was going nowhere, and dating a high schooler. This was until he met Ramona Flowers in a dream he had.
Soon, Scott found her in real life and started dating her. However, he'd soon find out that if he wanted to keep dating her, he'd have to go through her 7 evil exes.
In retrospect, I don't really think that's worth it. Sure, Ramona is hot and all, but there's 7 really strong warriors trying to kill Scott. Maybe he should have stuck with the Chinese girl.
That's not how love works, Seth! Scott fought and defeated all the 7 exes just because he loved her.
Scott's a sucker. Also, he lives with a gay guy.
Now you're just stating things! Regardless, Scott wouldn't have defeated those 7 evil exes if he wasn't physically impressive.
Oh yeah, Scott's strong enough to send people flying with his blows, and he can even rip apart robots much larger than him. Plus, Scott once drew blood from Todd Ingram. Now, while Scott doesn't directly scale to Todd, since it's obvious Todd is stronger than him, Scott making him bleed shows that Scott can't be too incredibly far behind in power.
Speed-wise, Scott has been fast enough to tag foes faster than the eye could see. He's been able to dodge fireballs being shot at him, and has even dodged meteors being shot down at him.
Plus, Scott can tank a lot of abuse. The guy has been sent crashing through tons of walls, he's endured many explosions, and he once survived the entirety of Honest Ed's imploding on him. Plus, he's outright tanked missiles exploding on him before. Not sure how anyone who's supposed to be human survives that, but whatever.
Yeah, just don't put too much thought into it. Anyways, Scott is pretty good at fighting if you haven't guessed that much. In fact, he's the best fighter in Province, able to fight against hordes of people and come out on top.
Yeah, and he uses Street Fighter moves, like the Shoryuken, or the, I can't pronounce any of the other moves, but he does a lot of them. Scott fights good. End of story.
Scott's also a good sword fighter, able to take on hordes of enemies and fight evenly with other skilled sword fighters, like Knives' dad.
Scott's ability to fight is all well and good, but his ability to trick others is better. He defeated Lucas Lee by tricking him into skating to his doom, and he outsmarted Todd Ingram and got the vegan police on his ass.
Scott's personality made a change throughout the series. He once thought pretty highly of himself and blamed his breakups on the girls. But after he accepted Nega Scott, he became a more self-understanding guy and accepted his flaws.
Emotional moments like that are what gives him some of his best weapons, actually. But first, let's mention his extra life.
Extra life? Like a 1-up? I don't think those count.
Actually, the extra life was a key item in the plot of the story. So, unlike Mario, it actually makes sense to give Scott his 1-up.
I suppose that's true. Anyways, when Scott comes to terms with an emotion, he'll summon one of his 3 swords, the power of love, the power of understanding, and the power of self-respect. Each of these swords has their own little buffs for Scott, with the power of self-respect giving him the highest boost.
Also, Scott has a bass, and that gives me automatic respect for this guy. Anyone can pick up a guitar, but it takes a true man to pick up a bass. He can use it to play music, or he could use it to bash someone's head in.
And then there's anything he can find on the street, really. Scott isn't too picky. He'll use baseball bats and unconscious bodies if he finds them.
But Scott's precious little life isn't all that it appears to be. He's got some key weaknesses, mainly being impaled seems to be a pretty quick way of ending him. Plus, if someone gets up close, they can rip Scott's sword out of his gut and take it for themselves. Plus, occasionally, Scott can be pretty darn stupid.
However, despite his shortcomings, Scott has proven that it's possible to rise above your own flaws and do what you need in order to save the one you love.
Wanna fight me? for her?
No. I want to fight you for me.
Scott earned the power of self-respect.
Travis Touchdown's life is a tragic one. Actually, it's pretty much the classic anime stereotype thing. His parents were killed at a young age, so he got abandoned as a child. The whole deal.
After that, Travis eventually bought what is basically a lightsaber online, and after watching some training videos, he was ready to go and be the greatest assassin of all time. And surprisingly, despite being a rude, loudmouthed otaku, he actually succeeded.
Filthy weeaboos.
Hey, let him have his anime. Anime is good.
Filthy weeaboos!
Well, even if he is a weeaboo, he's a strong one. Travis can easily slice through the human body, and he can slice metal doors in half. He can cut through trees and rocks, and he once cut through a building-sized monster.
Travis is quick, able to dodge many sword swings, bullets, and lasers. Plus, he was able to pilot Glastonbury, which can go at Mach 5,858. And there was that one time he dodged a laser fast enough to go from Earth to space in seconds.
Travis is also a durable guy. He can survive all manner of explosions and bullets. Plus, he's survived being impaled before.
Does playing video games also somehow give you hypersonic reactions and let you shrug off bullets?
Travis is a skilled individual as well. He's really good with sword fighting, able to slice through hordes of enemies, and fight against very skilled swordsmen.
He can pull off wrestling moves like suplexes and pile drivers, and he's got a series of special moves. If Travis fills up his ecstasy gauge, he'll be able to perform some great and weird moves. He'll be able to slow down time briefly, shoot out fireballs, and...
Did he just become a tiger?
Indeed.
Let's just get into intelligence. Travis is pretty smart, able to formulate clever plans and such, but also he can fall for easy tricks, like the old joy buzzer hand trick, so I guess Travis has average intelligence?
Travis is honorable, but also obsessed with sex. He's so obsessed that the plot of the first two games was motivated by the promise of sex. But still, his code of honor shows when he's fighting, unless he's pissed off. Then he'll be rather crude.
Anyways, with his weapons, Travis can slice through a lot of stuff. His main lightsaber thingy is Bloodberry, a blue blade that he seems to favor.
He has the Camellia MK3, which allows him to be much faster, and Peony, which makes him slower but gives him more power.
And he's got Rose Nasty, which is 2 laser swords for dual wielding.
Dual wield!
Something about dual wielding laser swords makes me happy inside. I should figure out where Travis ordered all of those things because I want one myself.
Those blades, and by extension Travis, isn't that perfect though. For one, the blades get deactivated with water, and they need to be recharged mid-battle. Plus, Travis himself isn't immune to being knocked out or tricked.
Well, even though he's a perverted and crude man, Travis has proven himself to be one of the greatest assassins in gaming, and will stop at nothing to assure he stays at the top of his throne.
Could be dangerous. Could totally suck. What do you say, bro? Join me. Let's see how far we can take this. And for you there holding the controller right now, just press the start button. Let the bloodshed begin.
Now that the nerds have been analyzed, it's time to strike!
Will this be Scott Pilgrim's finest hour?
Or will Travis Touchdown strike again? Let's find out.
Engage.
The no more hero is no more, eh?
I guess you could say that. Yeah, Scott Pilgrim and Travis were closely matched in some areas, but ultimately, Scott took this. Let's explain.
Physically speaking, Scott is stronger and more durable since he was able to make Todd Ingram draw blood. You may argue that Todd was merely going easy on Scott when they fought, but while Todd can hold back his punches, he can't make himself less durable. Scott made him bleed.
In terms of fighting skill, Scott was a better hand-to-hand combatant, while Travis was a better swordsman. However, Scott was the smarter one here. Remember, Travis's fallen for easy-to-see-through tricks, and Scott defeated 2 of his rivals with tricks.
Scott's extra life is also going to royally screw over Travis, since if it's like the movie, he'll be able to restart the fight, with knowledge on what Travis can do.
Travis may have abilities that can cause Scott a lot of trouble, but it doesn't matter too much if he can't really harm Scott given a pretty large stat difference. So, the winner is Scott Pilgrim. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Maximum Combat. As you can see, now I have a co-host for the show.
Yep, I'm here now. I hope you guys are fine with that, or whatever. Anyways, let's see what's next on Maximum Combat.